Hey, I just really am feeling so blessed and thankful. And I want to invite all the horse people to join in on this because yesterday I recorded with a group of people, wonderful, horse-loving, heart-centered, delightful people. A class about doing hands-on work with horses, specifically learning a number of different TTouches, and which is such a gentle, beautiful type of body work, but it goes far beyond just doing the technique and mechanical things, although if you only did that, it's still really effective. It goes beyond just having somebody relax, although that's wonderful and really important. But it really creates a whole different range of coherency in your brain, with your body, your mind, and your heart for yourselves, the person who's doing the work, but also with your horse and between the two of you. And so we had people on who were volunteers, some people who used to have horses, people who don't have a horse, people who do have horses, people who volunteer at sanctuaries, and it's just was so much fun to do this. I hadn't offered this particular class online before. I've done it in person for decades, and there's the recording, which was 2.5 hours. There's a 40-page guidebook that goes along with it. And also in that guidebook is a 3 different handouts, one of which you want to have for on hand and just practice in case there's an emergency, before there's an emergency, but especially to have those tools in place if you have an emergency, physically or even emotionally, with yourself, but also with your horses. And so it's super important. It's owing it to your own heart and your connection with your horses, with your animals. And I just encourage you to join in. You can still get the recording. It's also being done as a fundraiser still for Unbridled Thoroughbred Foundation, which is in New York. And then next weekend, if you've got anybody who is in or around or within driving distance or wants to travel, no matter where they are, to New York, to upstate New York, I am doing a hands-on, in-person workshop with horses next Sunday. And I'm so excited. It's at a fabulous, beautiful, wonderful, magnificent barn with incredible people. And they're doing such beautiful work. Of course, I grew up riding thoroughbreds. Ibis was a thoroughbred. I've ridden thoroughbreds most of my life, and they hold a very special place in my heart. And they are a sanctuary and a rescue, and they help foster out horses, and they just have such a wonderful program that they've been building over the last years. It's not even been around for that long. It's unfortunate that we need it in the horse industry for thoroughbreds who end up in kill pens and in bad situations. Often they are tossed aside after their racing career is over. Even really expensive good horses sometimes end up in these places. And so this organization with Susan Kane, Unbridled Thoroughbred Foundation, scoops them up, not all of them, as many as they are able to, and helps to rehab emotionally as well as physically. And if they need a lifelong place to live, they're there. And some they foster out, and I believe they adopt some out. So they're doing incredible work, incredible people, big mission, big hearts, and I love supporting them. And this is one way for me to give back to thoroughbreds whom I have loved. Ibis raced for 3 years and was very shut down when I got him as a 5-year-old, and I had him until he was 37. So Tellington TTouch is one of the main things that I used with him throughout his entire lifespan, from 5 to 37. So it's a really long, it's a lot of years. And I got to see firsthand the effects of using that long term, not just as important as it is for in the moment situations, acute situations, things that are happening now, behaviors, as well as physical things, ability to bond, but really for longevity. And I had, when he was 34, from in his 30s, I had several different vets. One, his chiropractor who we met, I think when he was about 31, new chiropractic vet for us, was like, he's more flexible than a lot of the horses half his age. And I was like, well, he's had a life of TTouch and acupuncture and lots of things, but the one consistent type of body work all the way through his life, about a year or two after I got him, was TTouch. And Joyce Harmon was one of our holistic vets, and we didn't see her in person very often, but when she saw him at 34 and gave him the go-ahead to travel across the country to California when we were moving when he was 34, she was like, this horse is ready to go. He's great. He's in super shape. He's wonderful. And I said something about my not being able to bend over and do a lot of leg exercises anymore, and I was concerned about his level of flexibility, even though he was getting regular chiropractic and acupuncture. And she said, he's probably as good as he is at the age of 34 because you've done that for most of his life. And so if you know horse people, it's really, it's a different type of training. There's so many different facets to it. And we will be focusing primarily with the bodywork portion in the workshop next Sunday at Unbridled, and I will post the link, and I'd love it if you'd share this with all of your horse-loving friends so that you can share this really important information with them. So there were a bunch of people on there who had just gotten new rescues in, who had come, I think 4 of them had come from an abuse situation. And this type of work is especially helpful with different types of trauma in facilitating the ability to bond. It goes way beyond just great care and TLC or positive reinforcement, because we're actually, with this work, we're actually changing the brainwave patterns and the connection and coherency with our hearts, and that connection, mind, body, and heart all together. And it works with the part of the brain that has the capacity for attachment and bonding, which when there's trauma, that's disrupted usually. And so we can make strides, so to speak, with this work much more quickly, much more efficiently, with cooperation and willingness, not through coercion, not through overriding and shutting down and getting them desensitized. We want them to be able to think. And so instead of just react from trauma, because when we're in our reactive states, this goes for humans as well, when we're in those reactive states, it's the primitive part of the brain that's being activated. It's not the part of the brain where we're capable of thinking. And so this work helps that connection happen. And that's how part of how learning can happen so much more easily and readily and willingly, while being able to think through situations. And so I've been doing this work for over 30 years, and I just keep falling in love with it all over again, over and over. And so I'd love to share that. So please do share it with your horsey friends, horse-loving people who desire a deeper connection, who desire more harmonious relationships with cooperation, with trust-based relationships, partnership that's based in the animals being able to learn and not just react. So thank you. Bye for now.